And welcome to the 12th episode of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your three hosts for today, Sean, editor-in-chief of the site. I'm joined by executive editor of Mobile, Todd Hazelton,
Hey, everybody.
and executive editor of Gaming, Joey Davidson.
What's up, guys?
How are you all doing today?
Yes,
Good.
doing things.
Yes.
Things, I'm doing them.
Things are getting done.
Doing things, he is. Well, we got a couple topics that we wanted to go over today, and of course, the first one is the big news of the week. Finally, and I stress that finally, the announcement of the LG G3.
Finally.
Funny story, Todd. I said something to my mother the other day about we were having this LG event on Tuesday, and she goes, "Oh, where did they announce it?" I go, "The LG G3," and she goes, "Isn't that already out? You guys write about it every day."
Yeah. One would think, and that's kind of like what we're saying finally, because everything, every last detail on this phone was leaked. Every picture, we knew what we had coming into it. And I think that was kind of just like, okay, so now we're going to this event where they're going to spend an hour and a half talking about a phone we've already been seeing for 2 weeks.
Well, now what's funny though is, we did think everything. I had never once seen anyone say that there were going to be two different versions with different amounts of RAM.
Yeah, that's weird. But
Yeah.
I know they make like some hardware changes like that going international, like different markets and stuff like that. So, but I
no,
guess it was kind of cool to finally hear. Like we already knew that laser on the back was for focus and stuff, but then to kind of explain why it was there, and like learning that there's an adjustable keyboard and stuff was kind of neat. I mean, there's small software things that aren't really huge, but there were some things we learned yesterday.
Yeah, I did think the adjustable keyboard was kind of a nifty little trick.
Yeah, it seems cool. So
Yeah, so, well, of course, we already have a couple questions because we announced that we were going to discuss the LG G3, which is so much fun to say 3 times fast. From Sachin Bahal, who I am now going to refer to as Jeff. Yeah, he tweeted me last night and asked if I was ever going to pronounce his name correctly, and I simply replied, "Well, change your name to Jeff, and we'll see what happens." So, hey Todd, how does the LG G3 compare to the LG G2?
The design aesthetic is sort of similar in the sense that it's very curved and nice like that, but it's better. Obviously, the hardware is better. Everything about the phone's better. I know there were some YouTube commenters yesterday who seemed to disagree that there actually is a metallic layer used in the back, which is then coated with a matte layer. So, but that actually helps get rid of the fingerprint problem that the G2 had on the back. Display is way better. You've got Quad HD. Camera is better. They use the OIS Plus, Optical Image Stabilization Plus, that was first employed in the G Pro 2, which we saw back in Mobile World Congress. Overall, I mean, it's an upgrade in every single way, so it's a better phone.
Okay. Well, we will of course have our full review coming in a probably next week. Well, actually, do we know when we're getting review units?
Yeah, we don't know when we're getting review units yet, so it might be a little while.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't say next week because, well, first we need to actually get a phone.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just start reviewing and see what happens.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's available globally today, so we could theoretically just buy one. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see.
right now, Sahal Raja asks, and I think this is off of one image in the presentation yesterday. Do you think the LG G3 will come with a smartwatch running Android Wear? Well, I don't think it's going to be in the box, but there was one quick slide in the whole presentation that showed the LG G Watch next to the LG G3, which seemed to imply that they're going to be close in release dates.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, release date for the phone is today in like 170 countries, but Android Wear, we'll probably see it at Google I/O later next month, and I wouldn't be surprised to see like a bundle package, but I don't know. We haven't seen pricing for that yet or anything. But maybe U.S. release and Android Wear, maybe that'll work together. I mean, we've seen carriers offer discounts on the Samsung Gear 2 Neo and stuff like that with the Galaxy S5. So, awesome.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, we can't talk a whole lot about the phone because I mean, you got to spend what with it, Todd? 15 minutes.
Yeah, we had it, and then we got to run and try to get the video uploaded. So we don't have that much time, and we're you're elbowing with everybody in the world to try to get these things. So.
So if you all do have some more LGG3 questions, we will come back to them. But honestly, right now we don't have a whole lot to say about it because we simply have not had much time to play with it yet. But it's just nice that it's finally out there and we're not going to be dealing with rumors forever. But that kind of ties into the second topic we wanted to touch on today, which is when is it too early to announce a release date? We've seen several instances recently of games being pushed back well beyond their initial release dates. Just last night, the Order 1886 was pushed back. The Steam controller was pushed back. What was the other game that was pushed back this week?
Evil Within.
Evil Within, yeah. So, and this also goes... Phones don't tend to miss their release dates quite as much as games do. But,
right.
This led to a conversation Joey and I were having this week about when is it too early to start the hype machine?
Watch Dogs.
We were just talking about that a little bit before the show.
Oh, that's my answer to... You know what, guys? I think I'm just going to say Watch Dogs again and again for the rest of the show, and let's hope that it answers all questions that ask.
We don't want to imply that it's a good game, though.
Well, I wasn't going to bring up Watch Dogs because I didn't know if you wanted to save things for the review.
Well, I mean, I don't. It's not like I'm under embargo here. We didn't get a review copy of the game. It's odd. A lot of places didn't get review copies, and I don't know. Some places did, some places didn't. Places like Polygon, they didn't even get a review copy. Which
that to me says a lot.
Well, it says that the publisher is lacking confidence in their product, typically. Mm-hmm. When you get Sony and Nintendo in particular are really good about getting out early copies. I remember Uncharted 2 came like 4 weeks early. Like they were just like, this game's good, check it out. And so we did. Mario Kart 8, showed up like the release date is this Friday, so it's May 30th, and we got that like May 2nd. Like, that's crazy, and it's really compelling when they do that. But then other companies, they either do... Activision is notorious for release day review copy arrival for things like Call of Duty, and if you don't want to get it on release day, the only other thing that they'll do is they'll whisk you away to a resort and make you review it under their scrutiny. So they'll, like, sit there and they'll say, okay, you have 8 hours of the campaign, here's a developer to help you, and... Then after that, we got a little multiplayer party where we'll put you through like 6 hours of multiplayer downstairs in this event room, and it's really tightly controlled conditions for review. So I don't know. That's a tangent and a half, but it's odd to me that Watch Dogs, either people were skipped. I mean, I still got copies of Assassin's Creed 4 even like after it was released, and then when the DLC was that Freedom Cry DLC came out, they sent me another copy of Assassin's Creed 4, like, just in case you lost the other 6 that we gave you. Here you go. So it's just so weird to me that like Ubisoft has such like a disparity in confidence between the two. Where were we with this? I don't even know. I think
we were talking about like being too early to announce something, and it's sort of a hype machine, but sometimes it's not. Like in the case of the Asus Padphone X, which we just got the release date and pricing today. It's June 6th for $199 on contract at AT&T. That phone, tablet hybrid, was announced in January. Like, that's insane. And it's not even like a flagship.
Right, and I think that the launch and announcement gaps for phones are much more narrow than games. Just because, like, a phone will be announced and it's either like sometimes it's available that day, sometimes it's available like a couple months later or weeks. With games, and the reason why I said Watch Dogs there is because Watch Dogs was unveiled like 2 E3s ago, maybe even 3. I don't even my brain's kind of.
I think it was 2, I think. But
yeah. So 2 years ago they unveiled it, and then it suffered a delay out of the holiday season, and it was pushed into May. Now, undoubtedly, it'll sell very well because it and Mario Kart are like the games this month. And good for Ubisoft. I think that was a smart decision for them. And ever having played the game, I think if Watch Dogs released next to Grand Theft Auto 5, the perception of it would be very different than it is right now. Grand Theft Auto 5 was, and I've only had 6 hours with Watch Dogs, maybe 5 hours with Watch Dogs, but I can tell you that in those 5 hours, I have been more impressed with Grand Theft Auto 5's initial 5 hours than those of Watch Dogs. And I think that's part of the reason why it's being victimized there is because of how early it was announced. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a game that was announced and promised 2 years ago, and then we waited and waited and waited, and now that it's here, I don't necessarily think it's living up to that time frame.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're building hype a lot differently than phone makers, I think. You know, like, phone makers are sort of like, here it is, now we got to hype it, like, right now.
Right.
Yeah. Versus games, they're like, here are some screenshots and art and stuff like that as you move along.
Don't even get me started on, man. I showed them to you, Sean. Ubisoft has become notorious with bullshots, as they're called. These screenshots that are. I mean, Sean, you can. What did I show you this morning?
Oh, it was amazing. The official Ubisoft screenshot that he showed me was crisp and clear and gorgeous. And then he showed me a picture he had taken off his copy, which, by the way, what system are you playing it on? We were being asked.
PS4.
He took a screenshot. It's like two completely different games.
Really?
They don't.
So what are they rendering it on, like a computer or something, or just like photoshopping it?
Oh, I think they're being rendered and polished. Supposedly, right. Eurogamer hosts the Digital Foundry articles, and if you are a big nerd about like resolutions and frame rates, I suggest you look it up. Google search Digital Foundry, and then Watch Dogs, for instance. Their performance analysis of Watch Dogs is actually up and out there. Based on their analysis, the PS4 version is the better one. It runs at smoother frame rates than the PC version, which is just. It's asinine. This is a game that should be pushing my next-gen hardware to its limits, and it's not. It looks very much like a slightly crisper version of last year's games, which is odd.
That is weird. Kind of reminds me of when Crysis came out, and like I guess it looked good, but even when I was working at Laptop Magazine at the time, so we had like the latest Alienware computers, and it was sluggish on those. Like it was just poorly coded or something. I don't know.
Well,
I might know more about it.
I think the thing about Crysis, Todd, was that it really, 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 really demanded a PC well beyond its contemporary age in order to run to perfection.
Uh-huh.
If you build a PC today and you max out everything on it and you drop like 3K, you'll be able to run the original Crysis and it will look gorgeous.
Right.
But
I see what you're saying.
it's not even Crytek. They make pretty games. The Crytek engine that they use to develop Crysis and even Crysis 2 and 3 is very gorgeous. Works very well. Ubisoft, I'm not convinced that they're capable of making games that can wow on the level of Crysis. And I'm talking purely for the sake of visuals here in this argument. If you follow TechnoBuffalo at all, or like our especially the whole gaming department's work, really, we don't prioritize graphics over mechanics, but when your big advertising pull for a game is the graphics, like we're going to talk about it. And in the case of Watch Dogs, everyone was expecting this to be like that gorgeous next-gen game, and I'd argue that Assassin's Creed 4 looks better than Watch Dogs. Our own Eric Fredrickson is playing through Red Dead again just for the lulz, and he said that it looks better than Watch Dogs does, which is scary to me. I mean, Red Dead
that's crazy.
Now, you know?
Yeah.
I think Red Dead has become our second Pokemon. I don't think we've done an episode without Red Dead coming up at some point.
Because it's worth mentioning when it's a standard bearer. You know, if we were a film podcast, I guarantee we'd talk about Alien a lot or Godfather. Like these are like the games that kind of define an age.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, totally. Yeah. I think Red Dead is quite possibly my favorite game I've ever played. Period.
It's up there.
Yeah,
it's up there with Ultima Online for me.
You hear that they're making Asheron's Call 1 and 2 free?
Yeah, I saw the article. Yeah.
You were like, nerd.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone off on one of the most amazing tangents ever, but it was somewhat involved here. But the question is, should these companies wait until they're confident in their release dates before announcing them?
I think so, but I don't know. You go ahead, Joey.
Well, I mean, but I was going to kick it to you, Todd, because I think with phones, there's a really obvious answer here. It's such a more cut and dry business than games is really. I mean, it's a hardware business. It's not a software business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with phones, I mean, and you sort of have to stick to it, especially if you start taking money in pre-orders and stuff. You should really stick to it. And it also, with phones, I feel like it's super competitive because you're dealing with 2-year contracts. And so when people's contracts are up, if your phone's not available for them to buy it, then they're going to go with the competitor for that reason alone. Versus, like games, like I guess we'll keep waiting because I really want to play that game anyway, and I'm going to buy all of these games. But you can't just go out and buy all of these phones, and I think that's sort of the big difference.
Right, and to announce a phone and then delay it, every delay that you lay down on a phone, you outdate its specs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That doesn't really happen with games. Like Pikmin 3 didn't get less powerful because it was delayed.
Right.
Well,
yeah, it seems like almost you could do more with a game the more you have time to work on it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So that there's this Shigeru Miyamoto quote from forever ago that any game, what is it? I can't remember what the exact quote is, but it's like a bad game is bad forever, but a delayed game could be eventually good, or however that quote goes. But that's the general spirit of it,
Right.
Well, Joey, do you think, and I'm thinking off the top of my head here, so in the movie business, it's become quite common for movie studios to stake a weekend. They even before they have started pre-production on a film, they go, this is when this movie's coming out. I mean, we know the release dates for Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 already.
Right, yeah.
And so, Sony is sitting down going, these are our weekends, stay away from them.
Right.
But do you think that's happening in gaming at all, that they're working to release dates as opposed to working to the best product?
I think it's yes and no. Because if you look at October of this coming year, you've got a ridiculous slate of games already. Evil Within was just pushed into October. The Batman Arkham game is going to come out in October. There's a full run of games that are coming out in October. And if movie publisher or game publishers are buying into the argument that they need to claim stake to a weekend and then, I don't know, not basically not publish alongside each other, then months like that wouldn't happen. However, I do think that it is in publishers' best interest, and I think that they're doing this to kind of recognize the games that they're coming out with or alongside, and if there's any type of genre overlap, maybe they want to space themselves out a little bit. Which could I mean, supposedly Watch Dogs was delayed for polish, which is kind of scary, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was delayed because of Grand Theft Auto 5, They wanted to get out of the way of that beast and then release in their own territory and be the only big open world game of May.
Are you trying to say Grand Theft Auto 5 had good sales?
I think it did okay, right?
Oh, okay.
Mediocre to okay, I think.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a Grand Theft Auto 6. The numbers aren't in yet.
Yeah.
You know what games I really like? Speaking of big open world, I don't know why I bring this up, but another tangent. The Just Cause games. Just Cause 2, I guess I played last. Man, that was
Just Cause 3's coming. It's going to be coming. I mean, it's rumored or whatever. When Square Enix picked that one up, they made a ton of money, and Avalanche Studios did very well with Just Cause 2. It's a good game, man.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited for that, too.
Yeah.
I will say, as of recently, Titanfall grows on you the more you play it.
Really? I haven't played it much. I'm still stuck on, Realm Reborn.
I'm actually on my third time through the ranks.
Oh, wow. Prestiged or whatever it's called in this one?
Yeah, it's called Regen, yeah.
That's right.
Well, what intrigued me was, as opposed to like Call of Duty where you just hit the button and you go,
right.
You actually have to, once you get up there, you have to complete certain goals. Mm-hmm. To regen, or else you're stuck. So, I mean, I got really good with Titan fights going from Gen 2 to Gen 3. And then I looked at what the requirements are for Gen 3 to Gen 4. I went, I'll probably stay at Gen 3 for the rest of my life. But because there's no way I'm going to be that good with the plasma railgun.
That's what ruined the first Black Ops for me. I prestiged, and then I was like, this isn't fun anymore. Then I just stopped.
Yeah, because you get so used to using the weapons from the higher ranks, and you forget where you unlocked them.
Yeah, exactly. You're like,
so when you restart, you're like, where are my mines? I want my mines.
Yeah, all those things that make it fun.
Exactly. Well, I think I'm also Joey. I just saw your IM. Please take care of that.
Yep.
He has a phone call he must take. So the question, I guess, Todd, is, and we've had a couple more LG G3 questions come in, so we'll tackle those while Joey's away for a moment.
Sure.
From Rockstar103, I'm assuming he meant think, do you think the LG G3 will have better sales than the HTC One?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough question. If it's priced the same, and we don't know I think the Australia and Singapore prices came out over the night, but if it's priced the same, maybe, because it has that quad HD display that people are going to be like, whoa, but then the One, has that metal body that's really nice too. But you also have to consider market shares of the phones and, what people have had in the past and the market. I think based on that alone, I'm pretty sure LG has a much larger market share than HTC, which sort of gives it the, sort of the lead going into it. But I don't really know. It's too early to say. I think we'll see. And the fact is, actually, these manufacturers don't usually break down sales. You see Samsung say, like, hey, we sold 10 million units every now and then. But when quarterly reports come out, it's sort of just like phone sales altogether. So we don't really know. But for both companies, usually they're sort of the big sales are in the mid-range. So it's not really like they want to make these big flagships and get them out there. But a lot of the times, they're trying to sell in emerging markets and stuff like that, where there's a lot more sell-through.
Right, yeah, I think that's where it's going to be the big question mark is in the emerging markets, because...
Yeah, so these lower-end phones that you see that they're launching, like, I believe it's LG's L series and stuff like that.
Right, which we had one other question about the G Pro series. Let me find it here. Yes, from Jeff. Hey, Todd, what are the main differences between the LG G series, like the LG G2, and the LG G Pro series?
The G Pro series is usually the larger screen. I know the G2 has a 5.5 inch, or sorry, the G3 has a 5.5 inch. But the G Pro seems to follow sort of the Note launches from Samsung. So usually it's LG's answer to the Note series. And then the G2, G3 is sort of in the same bracket as what you get with the Galaxy S5. So usually trying to answer both of those devices. And G series comes out, or at least the last one came out at Mobile World Congress. Now we have G3. Right now we're at May. So maybe the next G Pro will come out again next year at Mobile World Congress, sort of answering the Note that we'll see in September probably from Samsung.
I'm going to take this question just because I think this is something we actually should address. From Dominique Weber, I feel kind of bad for Todd for the crap he's getting in the comments on his hands-on video. I think he did a good job for a one-man thing. I will defend Todd. I will defend John. I will defend anyone that does a YouTube video at one of these events. You have to understand we're filming, and Dominique, thank you for what you had to say.
Yeah, thanks, Dominique.
You have to understand we're filming under less than ideal conditions. We are filming with devices that there are 3 people standing behind us waiting to get their hands on it as well. Mm-hmm. And you have a very limited window, and it can't be polished. And
it has to be right usually the first time.
Yeah, you
as
usually
close as you can get.
I mean, I shot a couple videos with Samsung tablets at CES this year, and I typically don't shoot videos. I didn't get a whole lot of crap in the comments. I should have. I was not happy with them once I was done, but I had Samsung telling me, "Hey guys, everyone out," and I'm like, I still have 2 tablets to shoot.
The funny thing is, yesterday, people were like, I think someone was like, it looked like I was trying to steal the device because it's attached to like this super elastic thing, and I'm like, I'm trying to turn it over in my hand while filming a video, and it's like bouncing back. It's just like,
that's another thing, because I've had to deal with those stupid cords, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're trying to get it in the right position, the cord's trying to pull it back
Yeah.
to the table.
Yeah, then you like drop the phone. Oh, you never know.
So, yeah, I mean, guys, we will always do the most polished video we can, but when we're at an event, we're going to do what we can, but they're not going to be what you see when we shoot in our office, and we can take, 2 or 3 takes.
With multiple cameras.
Yeah, multiple cameras, 2 or 3 takes. We don't have other press people across the table from us filming their videos, and we have to talk over them. There's a lot going on when you're on the floor. Yeah, so thank you very much, Dominique, for pointing that out.
Thank you, Dominique.
Todd gets some of the most amazing comments on YouTube. And I saw your tweet last night, Todd, about why do I bother reading YouTube comments?
I was just like, I can't. I'm going to bed.
Yes, I will stop calling you Jeff. Okay. So, and now, since Joey's back, getting a little bit back to our release date things, I have not had time to read up on it yet. What's going on with the Steam controller?
Well, I think that Valve just delayed their official iteration of it. I think that they're looking to refine it a little bit further and delayed it into 2015. I don't think that the Steam controller is an integral part of the Steam machines, just because the very nature of what they're doing is such that any controller will work with the platform. At least, hopefully, that's the aim. So I don't think it's going to kill anything, but it is kind of a bummer for those that have been looking forward to the Steam controller. It's an interesting design, and I'm eager to try it. So.
Yeah, it's unlike any design I've ever seen. That's
right. I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and jump into our open question and answer session here. And Joey, we've got one for you from David Berkovich. What features do you want to see in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire?
Ruby and Sapphire are... Someone is knocking at my door. Ruby and Sapphire are pretty awesome games. They're probably some of my favorite in the Pokemon series. But for me, as far as remakes go, especially with Pokemon, I just like convenience tweaks. Being able to trade while in the field or whatever else, or that kind of stuff. Anything that makes playing the game more convenient, I'm a fan of. And hopefully they'll bring back the watch, like the clock on the second screen, because they used to have that and it wasn't an X and Y. I was a big fan of that. Such a nerdy inclusion, but I like having clocks in my games. I know, it sounds so weird. But I mean, it makes sense. Pokedex should have a clock, right? What kind of Pokedex wouldn't have a clock? So just as far as features go, I don't care what they do. Supposedly we might see a new take on the story. That's cool. I'm personally more interested in seeing convenience features added in more than anything else. So
I just want to sew a Scarlet N to all of Joey's clothes for the Scarlet Nerd.
The nerd?
The nerd.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take it.
Instead of A for adultery.
Yeah, instead of A for adultery, it's all about, I want a clock in my Pokedex.
Pokedex, bro.
Pokedex, excuse me.
God.
Oh, good gravy. Okay. Now here's a question from Dan Legase. Guys, if I mispronounce names, I'm sorry. I'm horrible. My last name is spelled A-U-N-E. I mean, I've had a mispronounced name all my life. So, what do you think of the proposed smart home system from Apple? This is interesting to me because there's a part of me that's always wanted all these smart home features, and when they started happening, I was like, ooh, but they're not a smart price.
And you're upset that Google was apparently looking at Dropcam too, right?
I love Dropcam, and now so far Google's kept their hands off Nest, and so that gives me some hope for how things are going to work out with Dropcam. But it still concerns me. But it's interesting to finally see all this home automation coming along. I guess whoever was knocking at Joey's door is still knocking.
Yeah, right.
So it's interesting. I finally see all this home automation coming. Anyone that reads TechnoBuffalo has seen my Flashback Friday series, and I have a fascination with those old '50s films that your food will descend from the ceiling, and you'll be able to do this at home and all that. So that's always fascinated me. But when you look at the prices of say like the Nest, the Nest thermostat is awesome, but it's $250.
Right.
And so, this is great that Apple. I especially love the idea, of the one Apple patent that showed, you walking into your home and the iPhone automatically turns on your lights. That's a great security feature.
Mm-hmm.
But how much is that going to cost me?
Right. Yeah. And what was this smart home system? I know it was a report that came out over the weekend, I believe. But what is it? Is it a platform? Is it software they're trying to release? Or I saw it was maybe like going to be like an Apple, like Apple approved accessories sort of thing, right?
It's going to be a couple. The report goes that the new Apple TV that's been delayed, who knows how many times, will be the smart hub for everything.
Okay.
And then it will be a software platform. There will be labeling like approved for iPod. It would be approved for whatever the name of this is.
Right. Okay.
And so you could buy accessories that would talk to the Apple TV, and then the Apple TV would talk to your iPhone or iPad. And so when you arrive home, it would start turning things on. When you leave home, it would turn things off, so on and so forth.
That's neat.
It's neat?
That's neat. I guess.
It's the price of the situation. I mean, that's all stuff I'd like to have, but it's not going to be, at least I don't feel it's going to be until 4 or 5, 6 years down the road when the early adopters have bought enough to start dropping the price.
Yeah, I'm picturing things though, like if you had Bluetooth low energy appliances that were communicating with your Apple TV, so say like Apple partners with LG or something, or like another smart home system that competes with Nest from another company, then you could like walk into your house, it knows the temperature, knows your home, because it has established that Bluetooth low energy connection. Then you can go, tell your phone to run the dishwasher and stuff like that. I guess I could see it all working with Apple. But like you said, seems like it would take a couple of years to get everybody on board.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Unless they go buying people. So.
Yeah. From Sergeant Bahal, and this question's for all three of us, which he says right at the beginning. What announcement do you really wish to be made at E3 2014, and what announcement do you think we will see, and also who do you think will win E3 2014?
Go ahead, Todd.
Joey, since this is...
Yeah, go ahead. I'd like to see Ultima Online issue the rules from 1997.
Oh, man.
I have nothing.
Wow. Okay. I'll try to handle them in order, I guess. Personally, I want to see The Last Guardian show back up at E3 2014 for the PlayStation 4. Just do it and let Fumito Ueda go on to other projects, finish that beast up, and start making other awesome games. Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are masterpieces, in my opinion, and if The Last Guardian can live up to that on the PlayStation 4 and look as gorgeous as it can, it will be unbelievable. So I would like to see that happen. What announcements do I think we'll see? I could see a price cut for the Wii U, maybe, though Nintendo doesn't really like to drop prices around E3 for some reason. We might hear from Beyond Good and Evil 2 again. I know that Michel Ancel was the one that was working on that from Ubisoft, and it's kind of gone on hiatus. And a couple years back, he said that I want new consoles before I start working on that. So new consoles are here. And he teased some concept art of the main character not too long ago. So that could be a thing. And who do I think will win E3? I don't like that phrase because winning is something that's really subjective, and I noticed, Sachin, that you put win in quotes, so I appreciate that. But last year, going off of that phrase, I would say that Sony undeniably won E3. This year, I know that you guys love to hate them, and I say you guys generically, but Microsoft has already been doing some interesting things. And one of them was getting Phil Spencer to head the Xbox division. And since he's been on, we've seen things like the dropping of the Kinect as a mandatory requirement for the Xbox One and the lowering of the price to $400. Those are things that gamers wanted and have wanted from the beginning. I think that if any company stands to gain the most ground, it's them. I don't think Nintendo's ready to show off anything new just yet. I think that there's still a little bit life left in the Wii U, as small as it might be. But I think that if anyone's poised to make the most crowd noise this year, it could be Microsoft, though who knows?
I think Microsoft learned a lot of lessons from last year.
Yeah, look where their old boss wound up. He's the head of Zynga. Like, what does that tell you about how Microsoft and their Xbox division was viewing the gaming populace if Don Matrick left Xbox for Zynga? Where's Zynga now? How are they doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think Microsoft is going. I think we're going to see a very different Microsoft this year than we did last year. They can't take another year like last year, where, to be blunt, their ass was handed to them on a silver platter by Sony.
Well, and I mean, Sony, their marketing folks established this amazing narrative of they're the bad guys, we're the good guys. And they threw it into this culture that's very much centered around a stark villain and a stark hero. I know that sounds cheesy, but that's what games are. And so to villainize a company was one of the best things Sony could ever do for themselves. And it's paying dividends with the PlayStation 4. You can't go to any website that centers around gaming or tech without seeing someone in comment sections yelling about how the Xbone is dead or doomed and the PlayStation 4 is better. And a lot of that is based solely on the fact that Sony positioned themselves so expertly last year.
It was a master class in marketing.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah,
it really was.
So I don't know if Microsoft can kill that image this quickly, with just a year, but I think we're going to see a very different Microsoft that is going to attempt to be a much more consumer-friendly company than it was last year.
Yeah.
And I think Major Nelson will be tied up and gagged in a closet.
He's not, he plays the cards he's dealt. And I think that Phil Spencer is going to be doing him a lot of favors. And if Major Nelson's a great personality, and if the Xbox team can give him content that's good and easy to sell, he'll sell the crap out of it. You got to remember, these guys are salesmen. That's all that they're there for. That's what they're doing. And so I know that we like to throw words like win and lose at these console manufacturers, but ultimately they're just businesses and we're the customers. That's all it is. And I know that we like to categorize ourselves in more interesting ways than that, but there's no winning at E3. It's all about consumer perception, and whoever wins that perception is who wins. And I think Microsoft stands to gain the most. Will they? I have no idea.
Who was the guy last year that had the unnatural relationship with cars on stage?
I don't know, the Forza guy.
Yeah,
I heard
He's
about
like,
that.
look at this McLaren. I've been sleeping with it 6 months now.
I will only be satisfied if this year at E3 he shows up again and actually licks a seat.
Yeah.
Because I started to get uncomfortable during that presentation.
Well, I was there. I was afraid of liquid projectile.
At any point, did you just want to stand up and go, "Do you want us to leave you alone?"
Yeah. Should we go? We'll take the Doritos and Mountain Dew and hit the road.
Does anyone have any candles on them?
Yeah. It was weird. It was a weird moment, yeah.
It was so weird. I'm just hoping that we get another great musical act this year.
Oh, well, I'm because of how my plane ticket laid out, I'm actually not going to be there for Microsoft, and I'm going to be landing and running directly to the E3 briefing, so that should be, or the EA briefing, so that should be fun. But hopefully I'll miss any big performances.
We'll see. From Dominique Weber, could we expect some Assassin's Creed news at E3?
Yeah. I mean, they announced, I can't remember. It's Assassin's Creed Unity and something else. One of them is for the Xbox 360 and PS3, and the other one is for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I'm not sure what the Wii U plans are right now, but it's set in the French Revolution. We know that much. Assassin's Creed is annualized, and Ubisoft said that they're not really interested in new IPs unless they can annualize them at this point. So from now until Assassin's Creed stops making them money, yes, we will see more about Assassin's Creed at E3. Also, Far Cry. Far Cry 4 will be at E3 too. So.
Unbelievable. From Rockster103, do you think people will buy the iPhone 6 even if they don't like the design?
No.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
why would you?
Because it's the brand, man. My mom.
Oh,
and
I know.
my
I'm not
wife-
saying. I mean, it'll sell well, but like, if I don't like the design, why am I going to buy it? But I know the general public, yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe for you, me, and Sean, the answer would be no. But for the folks that don't give a rat's, the answer will be yes.
Mm-hmm.
New iPhone, gotta get it.
But if it's like furry and stuff, like people, I don't know if people are.
I could get into that. No fingerprints on hair.
Big, like a basketball. Like
Yeah.
this is iPhone 6.
You can dribble it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like this
Doesn't
design,
break.
but I'm gonna buy it. Just carry it around like.
I hope the next iPhone is just one of those magic 8 balls.
Yeah.
So like if you want to send a message, right, like it's asking Siri a question, but the answers are always randomized.
Yeah. It knows you.
Yeah.
It knows the future.
I now desperately want an iPhone 6 that the back is 70s shag carpet.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like Moto X could probably add that to the Moto.
Oh, they should.
Yeah, sure, I'd buy that.
Shag Moto X.
Shag with it catches on fire, just like shag carpet did.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, man.
From Sasha and Bahal, Sean without his signature hat, what's going on? That means that it's actually finally gotten warm enough that it's
There you
too
go.
hot for me to wear it.
He's storing it in the
It's
pile
hot.
of other hats behind that sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, funny story
on the
about the
people.
Would you just clean that shelf?
No.
Funny story about the sheet. So when I'm not filming, I lift it up so I don't walk on it. And about once a week now, the air conditioner will move it just enough to set off my motion detector camera in here. And so I'll get a text at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah. You're being invaded.
Yeah.
Ghost, the sheet.
And so it takes me directly to whatever movement it detected, and I'll just see the curtain go. Like a
You're trying to
small
get out,
flap.
Sean. Trying to get out.
Sean, you know what? I expect to see Sean's sheet at the season finale of next year's True Detective. It's gonna be the end. It's gonna be them lifting up
The
the
sheet.
sheet and just going, "Time is a flat circle," lifting up the sheet. It's gonna be awesome.
Yep. My sheet is going to have a starring role in True Detective season 2.
I think so.
Oh, my poor sheet. But yeah, no, the hat is still here in the office. It's just not on my head. Question about, and Joey, I don't know if you had a chance to look at this yet. What do you think of Google's self-driving car new design?
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, that was
at it
cool.
yet.
I think it was announced, last night or something?
It was announced late last night, and the thing is, the car has a top speed of 25 miles per hour, so this is not,
Oh, I
You know,
see it.
yeah, it's not expected to like go driving on highways or whatever. I think this would be awesome, especially if it's electric. And is it electric?
I don't know.
Woogie, woogie, woogie. I'm looking at it right now.
I don't think it's electric. Might have been.
If it was electric, this would be awesome for college campuses,
Mhm.
for large company campuses, for airports. The number of uses would be endless.
Mhm.
For those situations. Now, for general consumer, I don't know any consumer that's going to go, yeah, I just bought this car. It's got a top speed of 25 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So,
But you can imagine, like, for Uber replacements in cities, like,
Oh, yeah.
if I wanted to go to the grocery store, it, like, comes up, I get in, go to the grocery store, come back. That'd be cool.
And now, in New York City, it would work because I don't
Yeah.
think anyone has ever driven faster than 25 miles per hour.
I don't know, man. Some of the
No,
cab rides
cabbies,
I've been
yeah,
on.
they're hitting, like, 200.
Yeah, I'll just like fly through the freaking bike lane, whatever, bro.
I once had a Toy Fair meeting on a Sunday morning in New York, and I was staying up at like 57th, and Toy Fair was down at like 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically it took me almost an hour on the weekdays to get down there, but I had arranged that year for a special meeting on Sunday. So I left like an hour before my meeting, I was there in like 3.5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Well, on a
and
Sunday morning when there's no traffic, it's just like.
They don't care.
Yeah. The population of New York City drops like insanely. I actually was at I think it was Telenav or somebody back in the day, GPS, and they were showing like the sort of the breathing of Manhattan and the traffic patterns and how like during the day like everything was just super backed up and then it was just empty, you know, like again at night. So like at night you can get around real easy in a cab and it's cheap, but yeah.
Joey, have you ever read Dave Barry's book about his trips to Japan?
No.
I need to find the segment for you that is just about taking a cab ride in Tokyo.
What about it?
He describes it basically as he thinks he passed through somebody's living room at one point.
The cab drivers in Japan are hilarious, man. They really are. With their white gloves and like every cab has like the lace headrest.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
I've never been. I gotta get some. Well,
and you do not open the door yourself. They open it for you through a little automatic system, and you can actually break the door if you open it.
Don't you dare touch it. I've got yelled at about that pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, you do not touch the doors in the cabs.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, it is the most bizarre
I don't know.
experience ever.
Not awesome.
You know, as opposed to like the English cabbies. I think I've ridden in cabs in London, Manchester, Edinburgh. I think I've had one cab driver who did not engage me in a trip-length discussion, either about politics or sports.
Oh, and like I've heard that black cabs are awesome.
Black cabs are the most awesome vehicles. You know I'm tall. I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit all the way back in the seat, stretch my legs all the way forward, and not touch the divider.
That's awesome.
That is.
Yeah,
Nice.
and fit all my luggage in the back area with me.
Yeah, dude, black cabs. And apparently those cabbies know London like crazy.
To get your hack license in London, you have to study for years, and you're given a blind test that changes, I believe it's every couple months, so nobody can share it. You have to find the shortest route between two spots from memory in written form.
There you go. See,
That's
that's
awesome.
crazy. I don't think any other cab system is like that in the world. And sometimes when you go to New York, like I still get in cabs where dudes are using GPS. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's
No, London cabbies are known for, they know every
well, and
street.
it's probably one of the most complicated cities in the world.
Yeah, there's no system to it.
Well, no, because it's infrastructure that's been developed for like 1,000 years. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Wow, I never thought we'd have a cab discussion on.
It's all technology, man.
Huge
Infrastructure is an interesting thing. I'd love to see someone like do a real big investigation on infrastructure in some of the leading cities in the world and see which cities are doing it right and which cities are a complete mess. L.A.
Chicago.
Yeah.
God,
Uh,
L.A.
I cannot stand driving in Chicago. And L.A., you know, I drove once from Irvine up to see a friend at the next to the Staples Center, the L.A. Convention Center. There was a
Yeah, it's called
convention.
L.A. Live now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was driving up there, and I'm listening to my GPS, and it's like, in a quarter mile, stay in the 3 middle lanes. In a quarter mile, stay in the right 3 lanes. In a quarter mile, stay in the left 3 lanes. And you're like,
The thing that gets me about LA so much is that like they could eliminate the driving and gridlock problem if they just had a train system that made sense, but because of how ridiculous their urban sprawl is, their train system. Todd, that is the craziest face right now.
I was reading an interesting article on the side.
you're not fascinated by our cab discussion?
I am. Well, we always got to be watching the news.
Yeah, dude.
Well, we actually have run over our normal time limit with our in-depth discussion on mass transit.
Whatever.
Join us for next week when we discuss rickshaws. Should they come back? Well, as always, we appreciate you joining us for Tech, or I almost called it Tech on the Range.
Hoi.
Aw, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Tech on the Ridge.
Just bury it.
Thank you
Rest
again
in
for
peace,
joining us
Pete.
on the TechnoBuffalo Show. You can find us on iTunes, where we do appreciate if you rate and review us. That does help the show out. You can also find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. You can subscribe via RSS feed. You can find us on Pocket Casts. Pretty much anywhere there's podcasts, you can find the TechnoBuffalo Show. I've been Sean Ani. I'm the editor-in-chief of the site. I've been joined by executive editor of gaming, Joey Davidson.
See you guys next time.
Executive editor of mobile, Todd Hazelton.
See everybody.
And Barney, the executive editor of mass transit coverage. Until next week, take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.